Hello everyone and welcome back to this month's segment of Front of House Structure. This month's sales segment, we're going to focus on what I like to call icebreakers. And I'm going to tell you what they are, and I'm going to tell you how to use them. But it's very important for you to understand this one main philosophy when applying this month's sales point. And the philosophy is this. If you take this philosophy and you apply it to every time you contact your table, you're going to be so much more satisfied with your sales. And the philosophy is this. If you don't tell them about it, they won't know about it. And if you don't suggest it, they're not going to buy it. Again, if you don't tell them about it, they won't know about it. And if you don't suggest it, they are not going to buy it. Okay, so this is how icebreakers and this philosophy all kind of wrap themselves around each other. I think one of the most difficult things to do in any type of sales position, but particularly in a restaurant, because in a restaurant, you're multiple times throughout a table's meal going to have to introduce yourself back to the table in order to accomplish certain service tasks, things that you might consider service tasks. But these service tasks are segmented throughout the meal in order for you to present material that the customer needs to buy. And what I mean by that, and I'm going to tie this together with icebreakers right now, is that you have throughout the meal your presentation of the wine list, your presentation of specials, and your presentation of dessert. Every single restaurant goes through these three specific chain of events throughout the course of a meal during a guest enjoyment of your restaurant. Now, here's what an icebreaker is. It is a wine list, it is your specials, and it is your dessert menu. And what I mean by icebreakers, it is the most difficult thing in any salesman's job to be able to start a conversation. Because what you're doing is essentially introducing yourself to a stranger, or in a restaurant's case, a group of strangers, and you have to take over that situation in order to get your job done. But what I want you to do is I want you to take that situation that some people see as an aggravating part of their job, and I want you to make the most of it, because it really is the best time to capitalize on sales. Now let me tell you what I mean. When a table first sits down, you have a group of people that are all sitting together, and they're obviously out for a night of enjoyment and entertainment and kind of to catch up with each other. Here's the thing. When you first go to that table, you have to do something kind of awkward. What you have to do is you have to interrupt their conversation because you got to start serving them. Here is a very important icebreaker to do that. It is your wine list. Now, your wine list is set up in order for a guest to be able to peek through them and buy a bottle of wine. Here's the thing. If you use this wine list, instead of just a point of service to give to the guest, if you use this as an icebreaker to start a conversation about wine, and you tell them about a product that you like, then you will sell that product. You have now taken a step of service. You've used the wine list, which is your icebreaker in this step of service, to introduce a conversation to the table, aka butting in, but you're introducing a conversation to the table that you can now start about selling a product. So even if you're not a good conversationalist, this is a great way to start that conversation about wine. And we talk about that in another segment when it comes to presenting the wine list. But the same thing goes for your specials. Now this is something that I really want to sink in with you. When it comes to your specials, on this particular, in my restaurant, this particular special list has a salad. It has a foie gras. It has a fish. It has a moderately priced beef dish, and then it has a dessert. So here's the thing, and this is where you're going to have controversy from personality standpoints. But we are talking about sales and pure sales. On this specials list, and the same specials list that you have in your restaurant, when you go to your table, I am interested about 1% in whether or not you sell any of these specials. Now here's what I'm interested in. At the time you present these specials, all of the guests at your table have the menus in their hand. You use this specials menu as an icebreaker to start a conversation about the food that you want to sell. Here's the thing. This whole philosophy of if you tell them about it, they'll know about it, and if you suggest it, they'll buy it. Here's what this means. What it means is I want you to start thinking that you can tell your guests what they're going to have. And you can tell them by telling them about it and by suggesting it. And by doing those two things, you're going to be amazed what your sales are. Now, if I have a $29 fish dish on here, and I've got a $48 steak on my menu, you better believe I'm going to go over my specials because that's part of my job. But I'm going to jump right from the specials to the menu with this segue. All right, and that concludes our specials tonight. When I eat at this restaurant, if you look at your menus, these are the things that I get because I think they're really enjoyable. I think they're signatures of the restaurant. We have a crab cake, $15 appetizer as opposed to an $8 salad. We've got a great steak, our signature bone-on filet mignon, $49 instead of a $29 piece of fish. Here's what you got to do. You got to use this icebreaker to start a conversation about what you want to sell. If you're going to the table with just the specials and all you're doing is reading the specials and letting the guests make their own decision on what they're going to eat, you're missing the point and you missed a great opportunity to use an icebreaker to start a conversation. The next one, and really the most important one, because these are all additional sales, is your dessert menus. I see so many servers who all they do is drop a dessert menu. They might drop it open, which is better than just leaving a dessert menu at a table. Open the menu, take that time. That dessert menu is an icebreaker. It is a time to start a conversation about dessert. You get everybody thinking dessert, tell them about a dessert, and suggest it. Drive that point home. I like the chocolate cake because it's moist, it's delicious, it's one of the most popular items on our menu. I get it every time I come in here. That's it. That's all you have to do. It takes no more time than just going to the table, introducing the menus, and saying you'll be back. Don't say you'll be back. Tell them about a dessert instead. But that is how you use icebreakers like your wine list, your specials menu, and your dessert menu to interrupt the table, start conversations, and tell your guests about a product and suggest it so they buy it. Thanks very much. This is a very important tip, and I want to make sure for the next month you really let this sink home and try it at every single table. You're going to have great success. Thanks for tuning in.